Hello, I'm Joe Dubendorfer.
I'm Sidney Baxter.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. So, what was your last PBL and who you were involved with, and what was the outcome?
So my last PBL I was involved with was with the green spaces in downtown Chattanooga, and we had different partners in all around the world. And our outcome of that was we were able to create an innovative research paper that the sponsors liked very much, and we actually had to stream our paper all the way over to Spain, where our sponsor was located at the time.
Oh, that's interesting. Give me an example of a time that you felt you went above and beyond in the Call of Duty work.
So, I think that one of the times I've gone above and beyond was with our Adventure Sports Initiative PBL. We actually built a very large-scale obstacle course for the different personal transportation devices like hoverboards and rollerblade shoes with motors in them. And ours was half of the entire room. It was huge.
Wow. Can you describe a time where your work was criticized?
Yes. So during our prototyping process for that same PBL, for the ASI PBL, we went through many different prototypes where we were talking with our sponsors and they were critiquing us and telling us what to change. And with their input, we were able to make exactly what they wanted and exceed their expectations.
Wow. Have you ever been on a team where someone was not pulling their own weight, and how did you handle it?
I have been on a team where someone wasn't pulling their own weight before. So a lot of times, whenever that happens, it's a misconception, and you just talk to them, figure out what's going on, make sure that they know what they're supposed to be doing in their position, and then if they don't know how to do that, then help them through it a little bit until that they can do it on their own.
Okay. Tell me about a time when you had to give someone difficult feedback, and how did you handle it?
All right, so a time that I've had to give someone difficult feedback was actually our last PBL with the green spaces in downtown Chattanooga. In the beginning of our project, we switched over to a different one, and I had to break the news to our other teammate, Marino Fontana, and because he was hoping that we would do something else, but we didn't have time to, unfortunately.
I understand that, yeah. What is your greatest failure? What did you learn from it?
Alright, so my greatest failure. I think that my greatest failure would probably be, in general, just not taking advantage of all the experiences that I'm given. Like for different activities or different things that I am a part of in the community. I've been invited to go out to different events that I haven't gone to because lazy teenager. But I feel like those are lost opportunities that I could have had.
How do you handle working with people who annoy you?
Working with people that annoy me, I normally just try to keep my work and opinions separate. So I normally just ignore it, or I talk to them and try to tell them what the problem is and see if they can stop. If not, then just ignore.
If I were your supervisor and asked you to do something you didn't agree with, how would you respond?
So if you ask me to do something I don't agree with, I would probably first try to understand what it is and why it is, and why you would want me to do it if it's not something that I would agree with, and see if I could understand it. And it really just depends on the severity of it. If it's not something big, then I'll do it, and I'll But if it's something that I feel is morally incorrect, then I would bring it up and I wouldn't do it.
Okay, what was the most difficult period in your life, and how did you deal with it?
The most difficult period in my life was probably in the transitional phase, which I see as like middle school area where you're transferring from being just a little kid, and then now I'm already almost 18 years old, a legal adult, which is crazy to think about. So in that middle school, early high school range is just crazy. Everything's changing, getting older, and going to be set off into a world that I don't really know much about. But I've been getting through it with friends and family, making sure that I stay focused on what's important.
Give me an example of a time you did something wrong, and how did you deal with it?
A time that I did something wrong would probably be also in a good example would be in the ASI PBL, Adventure Sports Initiative, where we built the ramps and obstacle courses. What we were doing at first was we were working very slowly and we weren't making much progress at all and we didn't even think that we were going to be able to fix it or make it to begin with. But then through a lot of hard work and putting in extra hours and teamwork and getting with my team member, we were able to get it done.
Okay, tell me a time where you had to deal with a conflict on the job.
So a time that I've had to deal with a conflict on the job would probably be in a different, let's see, that PBL that I was talking about before where I had to break the bad news to the team member about changing which task we were doing. He disagreed, and then I had to explain to him why it was and why we had to change what we were doing.
All right. If you were at a business lunch and you ordered a rare steak and they brought it to you well done, what would you do?
I would probably send it back because it's not what I ordered.
Smart man.
And I don't like well done steak.
All right. If you found out your company was doing something against the law, like fraud, what would you do?
I would. I think it really depends on how invested I was in the company. So, first of all, no matter what, I would try to talk to whoever's in charge, and whoever's in charge of whoever would let that slide, and try to make sure it doesn't, try to fix the problem by going to the source. And I would contact my supervisors and try to get that handled. And if nothing happened and I knew that people were getting pulled down because of it, like if they're stealing money from that could be going to someone's paycheck, then I would probably contact the right officials.
Yeah. What assignment was too difficult for you, and how did you resolve the issue?
So an assignment that I feel is too difficult for me, well, I like to use the same examples because it makes it easier to understand. So with the ASI PBL, where we built the ramps, like I said, we were struggling to get it done, and we didn't think that we could until the very end when we really put our nose to the grindstone and got it all done by staying after school, getting out of classes early to go work on it. We put a lot of work into it, and as a result, we got a great product.
What was the most difficult decision you've ever made in the last 2 years, and how did you come to that decision?
One of the most difficult decisions I've made in the past 2 years would probably be on. We can cut this part. this decision right now. So, a very difficult decision that I've had to do was, in my experiences, was getting team members to work. Like for last year, for example, I was in a PBL group with a bunch of my friends for the Creative Discovery Museum PBL, and since it was a group of friends, it was kind of hard to keep each other on track and to hold each other accountable because we're all friends and we didn't want to. But we had to make a decision to actually get our stuff done and work on it. We were able to pass.
All right, describe how you would handle a situation if you were required to finish multiple tasks by the end of the day and there was no conceivable way that you could finish them.
Well, first I would figure out like the order of importance, and if it was like I passed or failed a class, if it was something, then I would make sure that I would do it. And then if it like wasn't graded work, if it was like a practice assignment, or if it was something that I was able to fix at a later time, then I would put those more on the back burner and get done with the stuff that I wouldn't have another chance to get done with.
All right. Well, it was nice meeting you, Joe. We'll get in touch with you pretty soon when we've come to our decision.
All right. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome. I want to see that video. Oh, fuck.
It's like he wasn't recording this whole time.
That's the thing you never know, Mr. Tangy.